This is the chapter where you stop being surprised and start connecting the dots. Patterns don't start loud. They start quiet, almost respectful. A little favor here, a whisper story there, a signature that shouldn't be on a deed, a relative who suddenly appears when there's property on the table. But here's the thing. This story didn't start in 2015. And it didn't start in 24. It didn't even start with the eviction. It started way back in 1996 when my parents bought that home in a legal sale by owner. Did you hear that correctly? What Jerry organized was wrong, but it was legal as of 2009. A sale that nobody contested, that everyone knew about. Not in 1996, not in 1997, not in 1998. In fact, my parents, being decent, patient, honest, hard-working people, gave the family 3 extra years before they even recorded the deed in 1999, just in case anyone wanted to challenge the sale. They were that fair. And still nobody contested. Not once. Not ever. And now here we are, almost 30 years later, and they still haven't contested that deed because they can't. Because the statute of limitations to do so ended in 2009 expired. Gone, all that could be done was preparing shady, illegal, unwitnessed, fraudulent quitclaim deeds claiming an inheritance through the former owner who sold it almost a decade before his death. But here's the kicker, y'all. To challenge my parents' deed today or before the statutory time limit expired, they would have to stand in a courtroom and admit that what Uncle Jerry organized back then was fraudulent in the first place. And they won't do that because they don't believe he did anything wrong. They think he fixed something. They think he helped. They think him being on their side means he can somehow bend the law like it's made of wet clay. But what happens when those criminal charges and civil suits hit? But what exactly do you think he's gonna do for you now, when he's got legal problems of his own coming? What magic trick do you think he still has? What new lie do you think he can spin that hasn't already collapsed under evidence? Because here's the truth. He can't take responsibility for his own actions. He helps his problem people by throwing them to the wolves and onto others to have to deal with without asking. Everything could and would have been completely different if it weren't for the fear of having to take them inside his mansion with many extra rooms. He's been known to hire a defense attorney to make sure they got convicted in a murder case when there's no way that man was going to be released or walk free anyway. Groups and smear campaign, huh? Doesn't that mean the whole group knows? The pattern is control, manipulation, greed, envy, jealousy, the need to succeed by any means necessary and believing he is above everyone else. All that matters is what he wants in the moment, subject to change at any given time without prior notice. One cannot help others by playing lawyer and asking others to commit crimes. One cannot save a person by putting everyone around in danger. It's not something new like a health problem that comes with age. It's a decades-long pattern, and everyone owes him something in his mind, including neighboring lands. Because a now deceased relative who borrowed money to open a restaurant that failed and he was never repaid. So what is he really gonna do for you? Spin it again? Twist the story one more time? Throw somebody under the bus to protect himself or another criminal, which is a crime that carries the same charges. That's been the pattern for years. But the pattern is broken now. And honestly, for everyone involved, the best thing you can do is be honest. Cooperate. Tell the truth. Because the truth is coming out either way. One way leads to accountability, and the other leads to consequences. Are you a stand-up person who takes responsibility for your own wrongdoing or just another fake? The choice is theirs to make. This is Stolen. A whole house. Part 3. The conspiracy. The blueprint. The moment you realize this wasn't one mistake. It was a system. Part 4. That's when the receipts hit the table.